What is a caveman? Well, simply put, a caveman, that is to say a man or a woman, a cave human, is one who seeks to align more closely with nature. We are surrounded by a world that has been created for us. This force of creation, which I call Trog, has an intelligence beyond our comprehension, but there are clues left everywhere for us to learn and appreciate the life that we have been given. Above all else, a caveman follows the rules of natural law. Now, this is a topic for deeper discussion at a later time, but in short, this is the law of objective morality, a set of non-man-made principles that are unchangeable and exist in all places at all times. We need only recognize our individual sovereignty within this world and begin living from the inside out in order to live in harmony with the nature that surrounds us. To shed more specifics on what is a caveman and how to act like one, I came up with the tenets of being a caveman. Now, this is a list of 6 or 7, depending on how you like to count, principles that if you optimize will let you live in a way that results in a successful, happy life. In very limited terms, success can be thought of as what brings you health, wealth, and happiness. The tenets cover both the visible and the invisible. That is, the physical and spiritual, and everything in between. Now, this is a topic I focus on repeatedly in my work. So, the tenets are eat, sleep, think, move, create, be in nature. I will cover these individually in more depth later, but for now, a brief summary will suffice. As one travels along the journey of truth and understanding, it helps to have guides, both as a way to avoid unnecessary dangers and also to interpret and understand what one encounters along the path. This is how I view the tenets, as an additional framework to natural law that elaborates on what we should focus on to give depth to our daily lives. They help us understand the how, what, and who we are to maximize our short experience in this very world. Now, while the self exists simultaneously in multiple planes or dimensions, most easily understood as being split into the physical and non-physical dimensions, that is, the spiritual, ultimately they are interconnected. That is why it is important to take care of all aspects of oneself, the body, the mind, and the spirit. Here the tenets are split. Eat, move, and sleep are most closely related to the physical body, while think, create, and be in nature are more associated with the mental, spiritual body. Ultimately, they all overlap, but it helps to paint a picture through this interpretation. It is hard to live an optimal, healthy, fulfilling, true, and rewarding life if you do not balance these existences. And while there are some exceptions, most can see how having a healthy body and feeling well strongly underpin any spiritual expressions one can have on a daily basis. Just think of the last time you were physically ill. Was there anything on your mind more pressing than getting back into a state of well-being? Probably not. Which is why the basics of physical health are the most obvious, because they create the clearest connection and impact on our physical body and overt daily lives. What we eat, our exercise, and most importantly, our time spent in the sun outside will be the first and easiest topics to discuss with others when explaining what it means to live like a caveman. It's easy to wrap your head around these concepts because they are visible. We live so much of our life through our 5 senses, it makes perfect sense to use those as the starting point. But there is more. Oh, there is so much more to life that exists well beyond what we hear, see, touch, taste, and smell. I'll save the depth of that topic for another video, but just know that the other half of the tenets are more in tune with the invisible world and more far-reaching than one recognizes at first glance. Our mind, the most magnificent thing in all existence, is what allows us to not only recognize our own uniqueness and what we possess, but also make use of all that surrounds us. This very recognition of self, both as self-discovery and self-worth or self-love, is at the core of consciousness, and this is at the core of being a caveman. One who is in tune with nature is one who exists at a high frequency, literally one who more frequently experiences and knows truth. What could be a more goal-worthy than that? A caveman seeks to find balance between opposites and harmony among all things, unlocking the mysteries that have been taught for thousands of years leads one to an understanding of interconnectedness. You are literally co-creating your future with your environment as much as you are impacting the co-creation of others in your environment as well. You have the opportunity to use the gifts that you have been given to experience life through your own unique expression. And yet, being a part of the collective conscious means you also have a responsibility to adhere to natural law. In this way, those who live like a caveman will collectively create a more harmonious world for those that exist with them. This ultimately is the foundation of being a caveman. An alignment of the visible and invisible, your mind, body, and spirit existing in harmony with your environment, existing in harmony with nature.